things that we were doing were okay for us to do. Okay? And the reason why I put this text there is that we need to understand that certain things need to change within ourselves. And it's not an easy thing for us to tackle those things or discuss those things or talk about those things, because some of them are sensitive. Okay? So we would rather engross our minds in the prophetic message, right? But lacking in other areas that are important to us as people professing this message. For example, I'll give you an example. Judas walked with Christ for 3.5 years, okay? He understood everything that Christ was saying. Okay, everything that Christ taught, Judas was there and he heard it, right? And if you read what Sister White says about Judas, says that he was not a hypocrite, he was sincere. Okay, he really actually wanted to be a part of everything that was being done. But at the end of the day, being with Christ, did it save Judas? No. So it means that there were things that Judas neglected to do. There's a personal work that Judas neglected to do. Okay, and what I'm saying is that we would also fall in the same trap. Okay, I'll say, no, it's okay, we are the people of the message, we are learning the message of the hour, and then at the end of the day, we neglect certain things that are expected of us by God. You know, and then at the end of the day, we end up being lost. Having sat here, having sat in all the other presentations that are done. So those are the things that we want to try and talk about this afternoon. And then I'm just going to read another verse. And then we can go into our discussion. We can go into our notes. Okay, Genesis. So it says here that the title that was given is Youth Guidance and Relationships. So I'm going to start on relationships, conduct. Okay, how we're supposed to relate one to another, and then I'll throw it to you because I understand their questions. Then we can help one another to answer those questions that are there in our midst, so that at least we will know how we are to relate to each other in certain situations. Okay? So the relationship between a man and a woman, what governs the relationship between a man and a woman is where I want to start from. Okay? So I'm going to ask a question. Who was created? Okay, it's not a trick question. Okay, we know that God created Adam first, right? Right. So when God created Adam, okay, who did Adam have a relationship first with? God. It was with God. Okay, so the first relationship that we have recorded in the Bible, at least in the history of the earth, is that of Adam and his maker. Right? Okay. And then, after that relationship, what is the second relationship that we see in the Bible?
Adam and Eve.
Did you hear that? Okay, can you? Did you hear that?
No.
Eve and her maker. Because what then happened is, God then said, let us make man. God said, let us, Genesis 1:26 and 10 said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, right? And Adam was created. And you understand, when Adam was created, Eve was in Adam, and God blesses the man and the woman, but the one that he's conversing with is Adam, or the one he's blessing is Adam. But we know that Eve was in the loins of Adam, right? But when the formation of Eve now, what happened was God caused a deep sleep to fall upon who? Upon Adam. And then what did he do? He removed a rib out of Adam. And then Adam is still in his deep sleep. And God makes Eve, okay, and I would love to one presenter put it this way, God made Eve there, because the Bible then tells us that after Eve was made, God brought the woman to who? To the man. So that shows us that the woman was not made where the man was, even though the man was dead, even though the man was in a deep sleep. Right? So the woman had a relationship first with her maker before she had a relationship with who? With God. With Adam. With Adam. Okay. So why am I bringing this up? I'm saying, as people professing the third angel's message, okay, we understand that the third angel's message, this is Christ. We have been shown that the first, second, and third, the fourth angel is Christ, okay? So we are supposed, in our discourses, in our relationships as people professing this message, okay, who are we supposed to have a relationship with first? It is our Maker. Okay, in the book of Colossians, we are told that nothing was made in this world that was not made by who? By Christ. Right? And if Christ is the one who made all things, He's the one who made Adam and He's the one who made Eve. And we are saying that these lines, the message that we are being taught is Christ. Okay? So we are supposed to have a relationship first with what? With the message. Okay, that's what I want us to see. Okay, so our conduct, who we are going to be, okay, what we are going to, half of the things, because of our time, I don't think we'll be able to read all the quotes that I have here, but the point that I want us to wrap our minds around is that before you have a relationship with anyone, whether it be in the family or whether it be our friendships, okay, our social, settings, what we're supposed to understand as people who are here, who are being taught the deep things of God, is that we are supposed to first have a relationship with who? With Christ. And I'm saying Christ is the lines that we are being taught, that we are learning day in, day out. Okay? And when we do that, we have a greater advantage of knowing what actions to take in what situations, whether in our homes or outside of our homes. Okay, that's the importance of why I mentioned that. Okay, so Patriarchs and Prophets, page 45.2. There's a part there that says, though formed of the dust, Adam was the son of God. Okay? So Adam was the son of God. Man was to bear God's image. So this is the reason why we are here. Okay, that's why I have that quotation there. Patriarchs and Prophets 44.3. I want us to understand the reason why we are seated here today. Okay, because Brother Tendai has been showing us that Christ, the signature of Christ is that He's the Alpha and the Omega. He illustrates the end of the thing from the beginning. Right? And Genesis is the beginning, because Genesis means the beginning. And the end is us. We are at the end. So, in order for us to understand why we are here today, before we can even start talking about relationships, before we can even start talking about coaching, before we can even start talking about all these other things that we need to do as God's people professing the third angel's message, we need to understand the reason why we were created. Okay, the reason why we are here. So how do we understand that? We understand that by going to the beginning and understanding why God created Adam. Okay, and it says that man was to bear God's image. Okay, both in outward resemblance and in character. Christ alone is the express image, Hebrews 1:3 quoted, of the Father. But man was formed in the likeness of God. His nature was in harmony with the will of God. His mind was capable of comprehending divine things. His affections were pure, his appetites and passions were under the control of reason. He was holy and happy in bearing the image of God in perfect obedience to His will. So, the point is, in our relationships, in our day-to-day conversations, our conduct, okay, whether it be husband and wife, what we need to understand is that God created us to bear His image. He wants to see himself in us. Okay, that's one of the most important things. So whatever it is that we are going to study, when we read Adventist home, okay, relationship, courtship, stuff like that. What we need to understand, even the relationship between parents and their children, what we need to understand is that that is supposed to be teaching us spiritual lessons about our relationship with who? With our heavenly maker. You get the sense, we get the point, right? Okay. So, at this juncture, because now we have at least tried to understand why we were created, okay, I'm going to throw this here now to the floor, okay, so that we can have the questions that I believe are amongst us, and then we can begin to help each other try and answer these questions, and we move. Do we have like any questions in regards to our, first and foremost, we want to address conduct, our Christian conduct. To make it easier, Brother Mawani, some time, you look surprised, I'm just checking something. He once read for us, this is not something that is easy, okay, because it now deals with our day-to-day, okay. You remember in church, the one afternoon, he read quite, he had a document, quite some quotations on how we're supposed to, this is what we are talking about here. Okay, so how are we as children supposed to relate to our parents? How are we as brothers supposed to relate to the sisters? And how in the family circle, is the message of the hour having an impact on our lives? Are we being changed after the similitude of Christ Jesus? Is the point. You get the sense. Otherwise, we might be moving in the other direction, like how Eve ended up. Okay, that God creates her being a perfect being, and then she deviates from the plans of God. Okay, so what I'm saying is that as we review our very own lives, okay, taking stock of our very own lives, first and foremost, our family is working. For example, okay, I believe most of us here watched a series by Elder Jeff called Walls of the Vineyard, and we know that as we are nearing the Sunday law, right? The Sunday law, that there are walls that are there. One of the walls, okay, I'll just put it as marriage here, okay, and here we know that the other one is the Sabbath. Okay, these are and this here deals with our families being in order. Okay, the time that we have to deal with that is the time of preparation. So in this time period, okay, as we are moving towards midnight, okay, we have to have our relationships in order. And God has designed the message of the hour, the third angel's message, Daniel in Revelation, what we are learning, knowing about the four kings, knowing about all the other things that we have been learning, the reformatory lines, okay, to put these things here in order. You get the sense. So the point is, where are we if we start reviewing ourselves, okay, our lives? This is the point that I'm driving at. You get the sense. And then there are quotes here that I have, and we're going to look at that. Sometimes I'll give an example of the prophet, okay, Sister White. I was talking to someone who was saying, what, at times we think that Sister White in her 81 years of writing, okay, of doing the work of God, we might think that she was a person who just, when we look at the estate, okay, she wrote 119 books, and most of those books are 400, 500 pages, and you look at pamphlets, you look at letters that she was writing, and at times you are tempted to think that she was not a social being. Okay? But then, if you look at, I'm going to read this quotation here from 7MR 285.1, just to show us that in as much as we are people who are learning these messages, 285, paragraph 1. Okay. This is just to show that Sister White was a social being, apart from being a person who was selected by God to deliver truths that are beneficial to you and I and the whole world at large. Okay, she was also a social being, and you're going to see that in this quote. It says that Ellen White had a real affection for her husband is very evident. In practically every letter she sent her love along to him. At times she closed her letters with the endearing words, "You Ellen." Okay? You Ellen, because her name was Ellen Goldwhite. So she's showing her affection to James White. She's writing a letter to James White, and she shows the affection to her husband, showing that she was a social being. And then it says, occasionally she reminded him that his absence was so sorely felt. Only 2 days after he left for the East, she wrote, "It takes a little time to get settled down from the excitement of your going. You may be assured that we miss you. Especially do we feel the loss of your society when we gather about the fireside evening. We feel your absence when we sit around the social board." A little later, she explained further, "We miss you very much, but we are so buried up in our writing, we have no time to be lonesome while thus engaged, but when gathered about the fireside, then there is a great miss." So here she is actually showing us that she was a social being. She was a person who, if her husband was away, she felt the vacuum that was created by him being absent. Okay? So learning the lines doesn't take away the gift that God gave us, that we are social human beings. Okay, so we cannot run away from that fact.
Can you read that paragraph again?
Okay. Says that Ellen White had a real affection for her husband is very evident. In practically every letter she sent her love along to him. At times she closed her letters with the endearing words, "Yo, Ellen." Occasionally she reminded him that his absence was sorely felt. Only 2 days after he left for the East, she wrote, "It takes a little time to get settled down from the excitement of your going. You may be assured that we miss you. Especially do we feel the loss of your society when we sit or when we gather about the fireside evenings. We feel your absence when we sit around the social board." A little later she explained further, "We miss you very much, but we are so buried up in our writing, we have no time to be lonesome while thus engaged. But when gathered about the fireside, then there is a great miss." Okay, so that's what I wanted us to see. Okay, I wanted us to see that what God has given us, the privileges that God gave us. Okay, when we opened this camp, I read a quotation that showed us that to us has been delivered the great and mighty what? Truths that are to be delivered to the world, which are going to decide the destiny of what? Of souls. But having that does not take away the fact that we are what? We are social human beings. So how are we faring as social beings who have been privileged by God to handle mighty and great truths?
Is that a question?
Yeah, it is actually a question.
It's like a personal question.
Yes, it is a personal
So you
question.
want me to answer it in my heart or you want
Can you simplify your question? Because the way you are asking your question.
Okay.
Oh, yes, I want to understand. That quotation like the Ellen White is married.
Yeah.
She's married.
Yes.
So, how then you look at us, we are single brothers, single sisters. So we don't understand how the quotation so like fits in.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
How it's going to fit in is,
Yes.
I read this quotation, we are going to, there are other areas that we are going to go to. Okay, that's going to deal with, when I say relationships, I use the word, I started off with the word relationship, because this is what we are talking about. And our relationships are not governed only by marriage.
Okay.
You get the sense? There are other things that are engrossed in this world outside of marriage. You get the sense? So I think the people who came up with this topic is what they were driving at. You get the sense? To say as single brothers, okay, how are we? Is everything okay with us? Then we can close the meeting. As single sisters, is it okay with us? As married people, okay, our marriage is okay. Because our marriage is, as we understand from the book Adventist Home, they are supposed to, by the time we come to midnight, okay, our marriages are supposed to be in order. Okay, our relationships as brothers and sisters are supposed to be in order. You get a sense? So that's where I was driving it. Yes, brother, you
Right. You talked about our general conduct, number one. The thing that is of importance but is confusing me, you are looking at the single brothers and sisters, while you are trying also to address the marriage. Can we try to be informal so that we address one issue at a moment to come up with maybe a solution to a problem that is there?
Okay, you are going to deviate between those two. Yes, brother.
Yeah, I think he's using the married people, not specifically like limiting the discussion to the married, but he's identifying the aspect of being social, right? Like when he's looking at Ellen White, he's showing that Ellen White, she has a relationship with James White, and he's just defining that when he's talking about relationships, it's a broad thing. But though Ellen White was a person, a prophetess, she's in ministry, she's not a hermit who's living an exclusive life where all she's thinking about is visions, right? She also takes time to know that there's James White in her life. I'm not saying that in a derogatory way, but I'm being practical, right? I'm being very practical. So I think that's his context for us to understand that it's governing. He's using Ellen White as a figure that we all understand to be a person who upholds principle.
Okay. So the point really, brother, human being, we are not looking at the nitty-gritties of what constitutes how a married couple and how an unmarried, how unmarried youth are supposed. What we are looking at is relationships just in general. You get the sense? And there is a way that we are supposed to conduct ourselves in general as human beings who are professing the third angel's message. That's the point. You get it? So we've got adults that we have with us here, and we have youths, okay? But we have relationships. We have this word here to govern us. But the reason why we are here is because we have relationship one with another. You get the sense? So I'm using this here as a general term. Okay, to say how do we conduct ourselves in general as people professing the third angel's message. I think that's what we want to drive at, that's what we want to get to.
Maybe looking at what Paul is addressing the Ephesians chapter 6, the church of Ephesians, he's addressing first of his addresses going to the children, saying, "Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor thy father and mother, which is the first commandment with the promise." That is one demand a child is given in a family. The first or primary thing that I as a child in a family need to do is to make sure I honor my parents. Then number 2, he changes the focus from a child now goes to the parents. And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nature and admonition of the Lord. So, our duty as children is to make sure that we respect our parents. Not the biological parents only, but elderly people who can be equal of age or of level with my parents. Number 2, as elderly people, how do we address the young ones? This is important as Paul is trying to put it to the Ephesians. So that our relationship or our bond between the elderly and the young should not have friction. So that we can walk in our journey with a peace of mind.
Okay. Yes, brother.
Hey, Pastor Russell, I think the elephant in the room here, right, that needs to be toppled over, because we can weave and turn. The elephant in the room, I believe the first question we should ask is, because I know it's a question amongst the youth in the message, right, a lot of them, it's no secret. Is it a sin to be married? I think if we start there and we lay the
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I may add about another line which is different from the one. So we can talk about.
Okay. So the question is come. Okay, and I'm going to throw it back to yes, brother. What?
Before you go to that issue, there's just one issue I wanted to point out.
Okay.
That applies across the board. That Sister White identified. And I'll try and summarize it because I can't read the quotes.
Okay.
But one of the things she identifies is that as human beings, we're supposed to understand ourselves. And we're also supposed to understand the nature of man in general. You need to understand how fallen human beings are. Right? So I'll use the family setup. My brother talked about fathers and mothers and their children. Right? That Sister White says in a family setup that individuals in the family should actually know themselves, but they should know the next person. Because each person in that household has a different personality than the next. So you'll find that there is something that will irritate me that doesn't irritate my mother. But my mother needs to know that this thing irritates nobody. You get what I'm saying? And vice versa. I need to know that that irritates my mother. I need to know my strengths, my weaknesses. I need to know my calling. And same with each individual in the family. Then she says, having known that, what you need to do is make compromises within a family. But these are compromises that are, of course, within the confines of principle. I can't compromise and say, okay, let me drink, the wrong things because my mother drinks the wrong things. No. But the compromise where, okay, my mother doesn't like it when I talk about rights. I know that's like maybe an extreme, but I'm just trying to give an example. She doesn't like it when I talk about rights, but I don't see anything wrong with talking about rights. But for her sake, I need to surrender that. I actually need to give that up, right? So that there's peace and harmony in the family. Because when each individual is adamant in having their own way, right, and making sure that there's peace in the family by their personality, there's disaster. And like I said, that applies whether it's family setup or marriage setup. That's a very important thing because it's usually not considered.
Amen. Amen. But that I wanted to say something, and then I'm going to read something about
I'll comment after his.
what he said.
After his question, because my train of thought was very divergent from the subject.
Okay. I'm just going to read something here, and I hope by God's grace that the way I understood this here in connection with your question, okay, because I had that in mind, okay, I hope by God's grace is going to answer what you ask, okay. It says that this year is taken from SD, and I think that's Sons and Daughters of God, okay. It says, let the youth remember that here they are to build characters for eternity and that God requires them to do their best. Okay, so the first thing that we need to understand as youth is that whatever course of action we are going to take in this life, okay, should do what? should help us build characters which will fit us for eternity. Yes,
Sorry, Pastor, could you repeat that? Rabbi?
it's SD 78.2. SD 78.2. Okay. It says, and that God requires them to do their best. So we are required as youth. Okay. And I'm going to change that a little bit, and I'm going to say we are required as everyone in this room. We are required to do our best in our relationships, okay, or in the actions that we take to make sure that our characters are fit for eternity. And then she continues, she says, let those older in experience watch over the younger ones. And when they see them tempted, take them aside and pray with them and for them. The Lord would have us recognize the great sacrifice of Christ for us by showing an interest in the salvation of those he came to save. If the youth will seek Christ, he will make the efforts effectual. It continues and it says, the youth of today may be educated for the fulfillment of high and holy purposes. They are pupils in the school of Christ, learning from day to day lessons of the divine master. It is in youth that the affections are most ardent, the memory most retentive, and the heart most acceptable to divine impressions. And it is during youth that the mental and physical powers should be set to the task in order that great improvements may be made in view of the world that now is and that which is to come. I'll continue. It says the amount of valuable knowledge that can be acquired by young men and young women can hardly be estimated, but to each a high standard they must close the door to the debasing thoughts that Satan would thrust into the mind and refuse to yield to his temptations. Why did I read this? It continues. I read this because I'm saying marriage is an institution, as we have seen from what I first read there, that was instituted by God to teach us about how we're supposed to relate to him. Okay? Now, the point here is, what is it that's going to drive you into marriage? You get the sense. Is it what she mentioned here by saying debasing thoughts that Satan would then thrust into the mind and use that to tempt us? You get the sense? Because in as much as I would answer, no, it is not a sin to get married, okay? What is the reason behind us getting into a marriage? Because if we don't know the reason why we want to get into the marriage, we'll go in there for the wrong reasons. And then when you read Adventist Home, she says, you're going to find out that you shouldn't even have made that decision in the first place. Because what is it causing you to do? It's causing you to yield to the debasing thoughts and temptations that Satan would throw to you in that marriage. You get the sense? So, in as much as I'm going to answer according to the pen of inspiration that it is not in the Bible, that it is not a sin to get married. Okay? But what we need to understand, especially at the time that we are at, that we know that it's one of the walls that we are going to be severely tested on. Okay? We need to understand why we are going in there. If you are ever going to go in there. Okay, you're going to find out that 3/4 of the times you wouldn't even want to go into marriage. Yes, sister.
Okay, to answer the question that has been asked, I'll read from volume 1, Mind, Character and Personality, from page 220, paragraph 4.
How many minutes do we have?
Up to
15, 14 minutes. Okay, so we have 14 minutes. So if there's any burning questions, please just pop them up, like what Brother Nyasha did. Okay, so that we don't waste time talking about things that you people didn't actually want to know.
Okay, so it's from page 1MCP 220.4 to 0.6. It says, Jesus did not enforce celibacy upon any class of men. He came not to destroy the sacred relationship of man, but to exalt it and restore it to its original sanctity. He looks with pleasure upon the family relationship, where sacred and unselfish love bears sway. He, Christ, ordained that men and women should be united in family life to rear families whose members, crowned with honor, should be recognized as members of the family above. All who enter into matrimonial relations with the holy purpose, the husband to obtain the pure affections of a woman's heart, the wife to soften and improve her husband's character and give it completeness, fulfill God's purpose for them. I don't think that.
Okay, so do you see that? It's exactly like what I was saying. To say that the reason why you go into a marriage is that is supposed to strengthen either party to the relationship that we're supposed to have with God, with Christ, or Maker. You get the sense. And seldom the times that marriages, these unions are formed, okay, will that be accomplished. So you'd rather, stay out of it, even though it's not saying that you are not supposed to get married. Okay. Okay.
Okay, I know Sister White says that there should be less marriages contracted in the last days, right? But can you mark a time when you can say, at this time, marriages are no longer allowed? Like, in the line of prophecy.
Okay. Can we mark a time in the line of prophecy, like when you are looking at especially what my sister here is saying is we understand we have been given the prophetic timeline of the 144,000, 1989 time of the end, 9/11, the tarrying time, and as we are coming to the midnight cry, and we know that midnight for the priest's probation is going to close. So can we mark a time and say, hey, we're just about midnight. I don't think that marriages are not allowed anymore now. Can we really do that? Yes, brother.
And Tenda was saying there's no more time, but time to make what is still what?
There's
Time for order.
Time for order.
Right, time for order. Right, there is no more time, but there is time for what? For order. Right. Growing up to the age of 27, 28, 30, 32, when the world is looking at you, they say this one is now what? Running out of order. But this principle, the testimony saying, we have limited, right?
10 more minutes to go. So
we have limited time. How do we handle this too? I want to concentrate on the lines. But nature and the world is saying young women are running out of what? Out of time and out of syllabus. May you help us out?
yes, there's a hand. Brother Nyasha wants to help us with that.
Okay. I think there's a couple of issues that are really key to put in place. From my little experience, I've noticed probably 3 reactions concerning the subject, right? Reaction A, there are people who have their personal conviction, right? In regards to marriage, some people are very conservative when it comes to it, they are aloof. For whatever personal reasons, those are, right? Everybody has his reasons. And then there's this class that's really like pushing it, right? Like class, some people get very desperate, right? To be honest, you have that class of people. I don't know if they feel like they're running out of time and Jesus is about to come and he's about to crash their ambitions. Like, I'm being honest, it runs through the minds of people. And then you have the adults, right? Which I think is also key to identify. The adults, I think a couple of them are responding based on the reaction of the youth, right? Based on the reaction of youth A, which I pointed out, who have their personal reasons. Probably some of them contemplate marriage and they personally consult God and other older people whom they believe to be people of experience, but they're not public about it, right? And the youth and the adults probably take that as as a person who's not doing anything about it, right? Probably who's criticizing the topic of marriage, when they're probably just conservative and they don't talk about it with people because they want to be sure with God in their hearts. So, based on that setup now, there are certain responses that are probably, sometimes you can blame some youth for leading people to come to wrong conclusions, and sometimes you can blame the adults based on their response when it comes to pushing youth. And like I want to add to what Brother Mubani mentioned, the issue about knowing yourself. I think that's key. The only person who knows you better than you is God. But the only other person who knows you after God is you. Right? And you have convictions, right? But yeah, just to keep it at that level, you know you, right? Your weaknesses, your strengths, right? Some people have got weaknesses when it comes to, they usually make mistakes when they're around sisters and stuff, and they don't want to make those mistakes, and they're conservative until they gain strength from the Lord to enter into such relations. Now, to just kind of keep my point short, there's things then that they end up happening, which if they're not dealt with now, can become problematic, according to counsel, right? Issue number one, which I think if we don't put in place, matchmaking, right? I think issue number one is matchmaking. And Sister White identifies the principle clearly in terms of matchmaking, because the adults are probably reacting to the youth, but sometimes they react negatively. And what you're going to end up doing is you're going to end up, and Sister White says that issue belongs between the individual and God, right? And you're going to put someone in a position where they might make the wrong decision. You read a quotation which talks about that the marriage relation is so sacred that if you make the wrong step, it affects this life and the life to come. So one of the things that are going on, you notice that the previous camp, the August camp, it was really at its height, right? Where you have people rallying behind and pushing it, right? And I believe that that's one of those issues that one of the responses that have been elicited due to this setup, right? And also I believe that the issue needs to be approached with balance. But when it comes to giving the youth counsel, right? Youth should be counseled for sure by people with experience. But that counsel should not lead to like matchmaking, which can end up causing and resulting in marriages that are formed with unsymmetrical characters.
Amen.
So I wanted to say that.
And I think give your last comment and then I'll just make our last comment and then we can talk about this here some other time. You have 5 minutes. So is it him?
Okay.
Oh, okay. So him and then I'll make the last comment.
Like I told you that I'm not going to comment on this one.
Okay.
This is about relationships.
Okay.
This is from my Katiyo Personality Volume 2609,2. And I'm just going to give my contribution concerning this one. Concerning brotherly love of Philadelphia. Because the wise virgins of Philadelphia. And we are supposed to manifest brotherly love for one another. So I'm going to read this one. It is natural to seek companionship. Everyone will find companions or meet them. And just in proportion to the strength of the friendship will be the amount of influence which friends will have exert over one another for good or for evil. Because the Greek controversy is about two things, the evil and the good. So our associations are very important. Right? All we have associations will influence and be influenced in their turn. So whether we like it or not, as friends, we influence one another. Even if you see, if I'm going to have a presentation, I'm going to take a point that I get from you, a point that I get from anyone who has shared something like me. Because that's an influence, and that's a positive influence. Right? The link is a mysterious one, which binds human hearts together so that feelings, tastes, principles of two individuals are closely blended. And this is not limited to the marriage relationship, right? But also to our relationships as brothers and sisters, as brothers and brothers. One catches the spirit and copies the ways and acts of the other. As wax retains the figure of the seal, so the mind retains the impressions produced by intercourse and association. The influence may be unconscious, yet it is no less powerful. The Lord formed man for companionship, and He designed that we shall be endued with the kind, loving nature of Christ, and shall through associations be bound together in close relationships. As children of God, this is what I want to get at. We are supposed to be bound together in close relationships as children of God, doing work for time and time. And what work are we going to be doing? This work. So I'm saying, we want to get to a situation where that in my life, right, if I see something that is nice, right, I want to be thought of. Okay, so if someone, let's say, Nabuto is reading something, then he sees something, but Brother Jende would have loved this. Then he sends, Brother Jende, this is happening to Tendai. Let me go and visit Tendai. This is happening to Tendai. This is Nabuto's birthday. Where we get to a place where we become a family, but not only are we a family, but we have been linked together. Getting good principles. Let's say I know that Kupiwa is very good at cooking. And that attribute about I get assimilated into that attribute as this quote is identified. So that we are all refined into better human beings.
Amen.
On a daily basis. Unlike being disbanded. And remember, the problem that we have as Christians that I've seen ever since I became a Christian is that when you're called, you think you're perfect. But what is the work of the everlasting gospel? It's purification. Right? That as you grow towards the day, you're perfected. But you need to work hard so that every known sin is removed. But so that we develop those correct attributes amongst us. And if that is done, I want to give you. In 2013, marriage was an issue. Those who understand this. In 2014, this marriage thing in relationship was an issue. In 2014, this marriage was an issue. In 2015, this marriage was an issue. In 2016, today it's still an issue. And what is the problem? It is this. Do you get my point? It is this. Seeking companionship amongst ourselves, understanding the needs of one another. Like I'm saying, I need to understand myself. But amongst us as a people, you should understand who Tendai is. I mean, if you're going to ask me who Tendai is, that is how you're going to be able to. Let's say a sister comes and asks, what is Brother Tendai like? Because Brother Tendai has asked that sister out. People should be able to give an account of who Tendai is. Do you get my point? So, this whole thing, as people, I think the way we are approaching this topic, I think, yes, we can do lessons, but if you're going to be approaching this topic with questions like, are we supposed to marry? Or question, is marriage still applicable? I don't think you tackle this topic in the right manner, because these are the same questions that were being posed then, and today is now, and they're still being posed like that, and there's no solution yet.
Okay, so in closing, so we yes, this is our, I'll just take 2 minutes. Okay, so in closing, I'm just going to read this from Ephesians 5, okay, and then we'll just close there. The topic here says flee fornication, okay, and it says, but fornication, all uncleanness, covetousness, let it not be once named among you, has become its saints. Filthiness of foolish talking, jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of things. For this you know that no whoremonger, no unclean person, no covetous man, who is an idolater, hath any inheritance in the kingdom of Christ and of God. Let no man deceive you with vain words, for because of these things cometh the wrath of God upon the children of disobedience. Be not ye therefore partakers with them. For ye were sometimes darkness, but now are ye light in the Lord. Walk as children of light. For the fruit of the Spirit is in all goodness and righteousness and truth, proving what is acceptable unto the Lord. And have no fellowship with the fruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. For it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret. But all things that are reproved are made manifest in light. For whatsoever doth make manifest is light. Wherefore, he saith, awake thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and Christ shall give thee light. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, for the days are evil. So what we need to understand as we come to a close, okay, is that each and every time we're going to be thinking about these things, because she talks about that a lot in Adventist Home, and I didn't have time to read all those quotations, okay? What we need to understand is that whatever it is that we want to do, whether it be relationships, okay, whether it be contemplating to get into marriage, okay, the first thing that we need to know and understand is that, is it going to lead me to? You get the sense? I think that's the, and we know that for us, it is at the midnight, because probation is going to close there, and we wouldn't want to get there and you've got issues already that you're trying to deal with aside other issues that we are already grappling with. So I bless God that He will open to us, like, let us read counsel. We've been given counsel. Okay, we go. If you read the book Adventist Home, okay, it tells us what we are supposed to do, and it will prepare us, okay, as a people to know what action to take at what times, okay, so that we can be holy in the sight of a holy God. May God bless us and keep us as we are going to close this lesson. Shall we? Our Father God in heaven, we know, dear Lord, that there are many things that ought to be done by us as a people. But as we have read from the scriptures, that we need to move circumspectly, not as fools, but as people who are wise. At each and every step, dear Lord, asking you of what action we need to take, and learn to prioritize, knowing that which is important for us as a people who are moving towards waymarks that are going to herald a closed door for us as a people. Our prayer, dear Lord, is that you may help us not to be pressured into making decisions which will affect our eternity, but that we may make decisions that are godly, decisions that will be approved of heaven. And after all is said and done, glory and honor may be given to Christ as He pronounces the words unto us, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Enter ye into the joys that have been prepared of you by your Father. As we are now come to the close of today's meetings, our prayer is that you may be with those who are going to travel, those who are going to prepare to present tomorrow. Our prayer is that you may be with them in a special way, that you give them clarity of mind and thought. This we humbly pray and ask in your holy